We can't really know what's holding this whole place together. We don't even know what gravity is. They're all just theories. Like, you got to believe something. Why not believe in yourself?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Disco Shaman TV. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Brett English. She is a TikToker, an influencer. He is a spiritual guru of his own kind, and he is here today to have a chat with us. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man.
Good?
Very, very good. It's a good day.
Good to have you on, man.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Did you get attacked by a tiger on the way?
Oh, look, man, it's just the style, you know? Trying to keep up with the kids.
Yeah, how you been, man? What's been happening?
A lot's been happening, bro.
Yeah.
It's been a busy year. Started some different businesses, different ventures, different work experiences. Made a lot of new friends.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, just enjoying the flow of life right now.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Ready
Congrats on the studio, man. This is beautiful.
Oh yeah, guys, by the way, here is the maiden voyage for our first podcast in the new studio. Got a lot of new things coming in this place. And yeah, thanks, man. Happy to have you on, bro.
Hey, man, it's hot, dude. Right in the CBD.
Yeah, right in the CBD. A lot of space, a lot of things we can do here. Thinking of doing our own comedy show.
Yeah, I'm down.
Setting it up.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
I'll do a set.
So like and subscribe if you haven't liked and subscribed just of yet, so you get notifications. Click the bell button and you will get the information of when new podcasts are up. Let's get into our first question.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go straight for the jugular.
Do it.
What is God?
What is God? I guess that men create God in their own image throughout history. You know, like the gods, the Greek gods, having these archetypal type figures of like man imprinted on some mysterious God, you know? But I'd say that we can only really define God, even experience God in a way that we can actually understand on our level of consciousness. And that changes all the time. But for me, God is the source of all things. God is consciousness itself. God is the grand mind of which we are all just fractals of.
Have you had like experiences with God directly?
I mean, it's very difficult to tell because it is said that God could not really appear to one man, because imagine having like 1,000,000 volts into a toaster, it'll just blow it up. Like, it's just sort of the same thing. God's power is so immense that it could not merge with a human being. It needs many transformers down the line. So I've had experiences with spirit, which could be alike to God or gods of very high power, very high wisdom coming through to me, which the message will come down, as in they call angels the messengers of God. So I've had angelic experiences with messages from God in my experience of what I believe to be true, which is just overwhelming levels of love, but a relatively gentle and subtle voice, but a lot of power behind it, if that makes sense. Just immense love.
Yeah, true. So like, when do you get them? Like, are you just walking down in the grocery store and like you suddenly feel an angel on your shoulder, or like is it at home in meditation?
Well,
What's the process that you're contacting?
Many different experiences. I mean, like for me, the biggest one I ever had was when I was, well, what happened initially was I took a huge hit of weed, which I shouldn't have taken. It was a bucket bong. And my reality started to break down in front of my very eyes, and I had to go home and just lay in my bed. I couldn't sleep.
How'd you get home?
My friend drove me home.
Oh, he drove you home?
Yeah.
Was it like, how was the drive home?
It was a tough drive home because I just started to realize that I'm in this illusory world where everything's a reflection of me. And as my friends asking me questions about, oh, how's your friend going? This certain person. And I was explaining how he's going. And then I knew that I was talking about myself. I wasn't talking about someone else. Because he's just a reflection of me. If that makes sense.
So you would explaining on the basis of how you're feeling?
Explaining on how I think my friend is doing in life.
Okay.
And as I'm describing my friend, I realize I'm talking about myself.
So you're not really talking about him.
Well, he's just a reflection of me. We're both the same.
Okay.
Exactly the same, just mirrors of each other. I go to bed that night, close my eyes, and I'm somewhere else. And all of a sudden, I feel like my heart is about to explode out of my chest. Like beating of drums, like doo-doom, doo-doom, doo-doom. It's not even a heartbeat anymore. It's just a big drum, and I feel like my spirit wants to leave my body. And I feel like I'm dying. I start to hear all this orchestra music and beautiful symphonies and this white light around me, and I'm like freaking out, like I'm gonna die right now. And I was holding on to my heart, like I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And I felt like I would have a heart attack if I didn't. So I just surrendered and floated out of my body. The roof is like this close to my face, and then all of a sudden this huge purple vortex just appears. And I'm pulled up this vortex and I become one with this vortex. So there's no distinction of me going through it. I am the vortex and I appear somewhere else. And I hear a great voice, great gentle voice.
Was it a manly voice or a woman voice?
I interpret it as masculine, but that is my interpretation of it. But it's not masculine nor feminine. It was just immense amount of love flowing through my body, like just enough to vibrate me like a freaking testing control. Like, there's like so much love I couldn't hold it. You know?
You just left your dildo on?
Yeah.
You're tripping balls?
Hey,
you're like, oh shit.
But
yeah.
Honestly, this huge heart expansive experience, and this a message of my life is not a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything's divinely guided and orchestrated. There's a lot more than that, but I won't get into it. But that was the experience I had. And in other moments, you just have in deep meditation or quiet contemplation or looking into the eyes of a friend, and you just feel peace and love and union with everything.
Yeah. How do you integrate that though? Like for example, when you're going through like, you know, day-to-day life, and you got like certain struggles when it comes to, for example, many different facets of your reality could be struggling. Could be relationship, could be financials, could be X, Y, and Z. And you know that everything's divinely orchestrated. You've had these experiences. Like, how do you then, you know, like when you're going through these situations, how do you integrate that into your experience? Or do you sometimes fall out of it? You're like, oh shit, you get caught in the matrix of feelings.
I think we all fall in and out of it. I fall out of it all the time. But coming back, you always want to bring yourself back to that place of love and comfort, and understand that if you are struggling, and what is struggling, it could just be either you're interpreting the world incorrectly, you need to learn a lesson, or you're distorting something. Because we only have one free will, right? Which is either to deter from the path or be on the path, which is love or fear, essentially. And when we're out of love and out of alignment, we are falling into, what do you call it? Digressing the path, which causes suffering, pain, discomfort, and all these sorts of things. So sometimes we sort of surrender to the experience and say, okay, this is happening now. Facing that fear or reality, that's the worst case scenario within your mind, feeling that, allowing yourself to feel, and be like, it's still going to be okay. So things are never as bad as we think they are. We over-exaggerate, we tell ourselves stories, we believe the stories. Just bring yourself back to your breath, to love, to truth, to surrender.
That's what I think sometimes. I'm like, man, all this hard work that we put into creating, and the struggle and the sacrifice, it's like, is that just an illusion? Like, are we just creating our own struggles by believing limiting stories, and these limiting stories are then animating our behaviors and creating experiences which reflect the way that we feel about ourselves?
I definitely think so.
So it's just like, how do you really step into, comes into question too, is like, how do you really step into being a powerful creator? Like, how do you do that? How do you become
a powerful creator? Well, I've been on this line at the moment with manifestation and creation and my willpower, and also surrendering to the greater power, which is God or Source. And I believe we can do a bit of both. We can set our intentions, but you should set your intention for what it is that you want. Don't want to be too specific. People always say you want to be really specific, but it's kind of like, do you really trust yourself that you're doing a better job than Source himself? Did you create the ants in the floor, or the earth and the planets? I'm pretty sure you didn't. You were born into adversity. You were born into the conditioning. Now you've got to sort of fix your way out of the conditioning. And how do you do that? Just alignment with Source. Set your intention and just let it go and surrender to what is happening. And sometimes we're not willing to take a step back to take 10 steps forward later on. It's a human condition. We don't want to sell our nice car or our fancy house or whatever to, what will people think of me? You know, now that I not hold this same level of status, which is a created concept anyway. Be able to humble yourself and say, I will divert, I will go with God, what do I need to do to bring myself back later on. But it's all intention, it's all love, and element of surrender as well, that I am not in control.
That's a serious level of surrender, that you have to be able to trust in something that you can't see.
that's all of life. I mean, they say that seeing is believing, but you have to believe to see. And my spirit guide always say to me, it's like, those who believe yet cannot see shall truly inherit the earth. Because we can't see God, we can't see spirit, or some of us, most of us can't see spirit. We can't really know what's holding this whole place together. We don't even know what gravity is. They're all just theories. Like, you've got to believe something. Why not believe in yourself? Because God believed in you. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. So who are you to doubt yourself? You can only doubt the doubt that you're experiencing of yourself, because that is ego and your conditioning. And just realize that, hey, look, I may be a flawed human being, but God lives within me, and I live within him or her. There's no feminine, masculine, it's both.
Just putting it in there. Just
people get triggered, man. Like, I even say the word God. I don't like the word God. I'm like, I say mother, father, God. I don't like that either.
Who said that?
Just people.
Oh, they say that?
Some people say that, yeah. I'm just like, doesn't matter. It's just labels now. You're just being the same person as a Christian saying, I don't like the word Spirit or God. It's the Holy Spirit. It's just like, we're just fighting over technicalities.
It's a wounding. It's a deep wounding.
We've been scarred by the church.
I think it comes from family, bro.
True.
It comes from parents. You know, like, especially women who have issues with their father.
Like, God says no.
Yeah, literally. Women who have issues with their father will tend to not want to ascribe to the fact that God is a male.
True.
Because that essentially a father is a god to a child. So is a mother a god to a child.
That's true.
And that's the same with the men. Men who have issues with their mother fear the feminine, fear their ability to tap into the spiritual realms and see into other realities.
I get that. I don't actually like it either, to be honest.
What?
I wish there was another word we could have in our language that would describe God in a better way. Because I would say mother, father, God, or source consciousness. But for simplicity, I just go back to father. It's just makes it so much easier on myself.
It's your view.
Yeah.
Why should anyone have to impede on it? You know, like, if you want to call it a freaking poster, you call it a poster. Like
spaghetti monster is what some people
call it spaghetti monster. You know what I mean? Like,
it's pretty funny, hey.
You're like, the spaghetti monster came in my dreams.
It was delicious.
Yeah. Nah, I get that. I get the fact that they're just labels at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't really matter. So what do you think?
But I do also experience God in the eyes of my friends, in the love I have for them, my parents, my mom, my dad. I see God in all of it now. Like, sometimes when I made I can see God in you, bro. When you took me in.
Damn right, you better see God in me, boy.
You know?
No, I'm kidding.
And I was like, wow, man, who is this Pakistani family who just takes me in for 2 years? You know what I mean? Like, pay rent whenever you want. Like, it's all good. I'm like, how is that not God? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think
we're all manifestations of God, you know. Yeah. So when we choose love, we are enacting the will of the Father like Jesus is, and that's what it's all about.
What about Satan then?
Good question.
You know what I mean? Like, if God is everything, and you can see God in every person and every object and every part of reality, then where's Satan? Like, is he just fucking fucked off somewhere into the bush?
Not at all, man. I don't believe in a literal Satan. I think that there's no basis, because spirituality is a science and there's no basis for that at all. But I do believe in evil, and I do believe in evil beings and dark beings that are very high powered. But even,
you can call the conglomerate all of those beings Satan, for example.
Yeah,
that darker energy.
Okay, the darker energy source. I mean, I think evil starts from the bottom, not the top. But God makes allowances for that. So in Isaiah, God was like, I create the light and the darkness. I, the Lord, do all these things. Because everything comes from him. But he makes allowances for it. So I believe that as above, so below, human beings and everyone is on a spiritual evolutionary journey, the same way the ants to us, everyone is evolving. I believe that God is also evolving. There can be no other way. So he may be on his evolutionary journey from thousands of years or millions of years ago, who has made decisions out of anger, because as above, so below, if we have these emotions of anger, so does he. So he may have acted in anger at one point in time. That has like a memory blueprint in the archives of time, which we can tune into. We can tune into all pockets of energy. And because it exists, we can tune into it, and that can accelerate things of evil or scarcity and that sort of stuff. So evil is just pretty much from fear, from scarcity, and a distortion of emotions. That
what is evil then? I'm confused. I'm not getting the fact. Like,
I honestly think evil comes from fear, man.
See, evil is fear.
Yeah, well,
fear is evil.
It can distort. It's not generally evil. It could be cautionary, but when people feel fear, like imagine back in the day, you're a caveman. You see another caveman, and you have food, and he wants your food, and because he's scarce, he believes in fear, there's not enough for everyone, he may try to take what's yours. And then that leaves a scar in your mind, like, well, no, I need to fight for what's mine. And then you see another caveman like, no, I'm going to fuck him up because this is my territory. And next minute, you know, you, instead of fighting for food and survival, you're fighting for gold and greed and more. And there's allowances for that. And that is free will, essentially. And in this physical world, on this planet here, we have a physical body which has certain physical drives and needs, like sex, food, this and that, shelter. And we can take it to the extremes of hoarding for comfort. We hoard money for comfort, for starters, for things like that. And it's always been the same, so we feel safe. And when we have more fear, we don't feel as safe, and we're not connected with God, and we choose ignorance, then...
What's evil? Like, I can't wrap my head around the concept of what evil really is. Like, what is evil?
Evil can be many things, bro. I believe it can be greed, it can be scarcity, it can be envy. All these things lead to evil. Evil is the intention of either harming someone through ignorance or not. But it's even more evil if you wanted to hurt someone just for the sake of hurting them. That's pure evil. But to hurt somebody because I want their stuff so I can feel safe is still just as evil because the consequence is the same. But it's a dark motive in people that I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is, but hopefully you can get a gist of how it comes about and how it is. And
I'm trying to see it in the sense of like an energy, you know what I mean? Like we're seeing certain behavioral characteristics, which is being rooted in a certain energy, which is greed, feeling like you don't have enough, because of some sort of void within you and you need more and more and more.
And also distortions of power as well.
Distortions of power because you've lost your own power and now you need to gain power in the external realms and realities. Yeah. But like, I'm looking at the energy of it, you know, like if we could see it, like for example, we have water here and this water's blue, that's light, that's positivity. Yeah. Then we have this other water here, that water's red. You know what I mean? That water's
power.
That's power, but like power is not necessarily evil. Like power is a necessary. I believe it's
power is just neutral.
It's how you use it. You know, like you need power. Like,
well, they say there's like two basic things. It's like you've got service of self, and you've got service of others. And the service of self leads to distortions and evil because you're only looking at your interest, no one else's interest, and that inherently can get really distorted. But have you ever felt like dark forces or dark spirits?
Yeah, I've had encounters with darkness quite a lot.
Because I've encountered dark spirits, and some of them are just blatantly destructive and want to hurt you, but some of them are actually very, very powerful, and they want to get inside your mind and allure you with power, which I felt flow through my body, and it feels very like, whoa, that feels quite good, you know. But the higher awareness of me is like, that's not me, that's not you, that's not real power. It's like an illusion of power because you feel strong, like no one can hurt me and all this sort of stuff, and then you could hurt other people, but it's still not true power because it doesn't lead anywhere. It just leads to self-destruction at the end of the day. You know? We can either build or destroy, and evil just wants to destroy.
But don't you think harnessing that part of yourself that wants to destroy, you could use that positively? Because in order to create, sometimes things need to be destroyed.
That's true.
Like, for example, this matrix that we're living in, if people aren't happy with the system, yeah, you can build on top of it, but if the root is hollow, then it's just going to collapse into the sand. But if you destroy it and then create from a fresh start, then you might be able to make a stronger foundation, a stronger root.
It comes down to your intent, and sometimes the end doesn't justify the means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, if you want to like just decimate a whole city, to build up a whole city, you're using it to wipe out 4 million people, like.
But at some level, God is doing
China.
that.
Well, I don't believe that is true. We have free will as well. God's given us a piece of Himself to have free will, so it's not God's choice and everything at the end of the day. It's like you can have your own free will and distort whatever you want. That's the gift I've given you, but don't come bitching to me when you fuck everything up.
But isn't that God's creation? You know what I mean? Like, isn't God have allowances for it?
There is allowances for it, so you're allowed to do it. It's within the law of free will, but it's not His doing. He may be able to predict it and send prophets and people to sort of help to distort those things, you know, which some of us are here to do. Who knows?
But surely when God created the planet, like, He didn't think that, okay, well, I'm going to give these wild apes free will and they're just going to be, you know, driving around happily. Obviously, if this almighty, omnipresent, omniscient being knows everything and is everything, there would have been understanding that there will be chaos and destruction. Do you think there's a part of God that wants to see it?
Maybe at one point in time He didn't know everything because he was evolving Himself. And just like everyone else who's ever lived, you have to learn through experience.
So God's still learning also?
Well, I believe He's reached a very high state of perfection now, but in the past there may be scenarios where He's like, oh,
so
I didn't see that playing out the way it's meant to play out because of free will and certain things. Because how can someone who just was created out of thin air, out of nothing, out of the energy that just happened to merge and all of a sudden consciousness exists? for billions of years, and he's on his own, he's by himself. How will he possibly learn? How can something that just was born out of nothing know everything?
Because it was born out of nothing.
That's the thing.
It came from nothing.
It came from energy.
But
because energy can't be created or destroyed. It always was, always will be.
But
when they interact, they merge, creating some kind of symbiosis that creates consciousness, and that is consciousness we all experience as one grand mind, which is God. But how could he know everything in that moment? Obviously, it's a process of learning and evolution in his journey through us, because we are all one being, learning and evolving as we go. So it's unrealistic for us to be like, God should know absolutely everything as soon as the second that he was created or he existed, he's always existed, for us to have that expectation of him to do everything for us and make it perfect. How would we learn and evolve? So allowances for darkness are there, but they're actually not needed. We just believe that they're needed because suffering leads to enlightenment, which isn't really true. It's just a path well traveled on this planet because of the idea of scarcity and limited resources and the physicality and the denseness of where we are. This is the densest place in all the multiverse and all the multiple dimensions. This is like the beginning platform of density. And people get lost in that. The lust and desires of the body, man. It's very, you can feel it, like food, drink, sex, drugs, like all these things are just like, how do we combat that without a higher power or a higher state of consciousness? It's like, we can't. But how do we get there? We evolve slowly. But
that's obviously looking at the reality through a frame of time, that it takes time to do things. And in that realm, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we need to learn because we're born, and then we need to grow up and need to go through experiences to learn and be able to adapt and evolve.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking of God, think of God in a sense, I think of God in a sense where it's like, perhaps this being is inhabiting a dimension that there is no time.
I believe that there is no time.
And if there is no time, then how is God evolving?
Well, there is no time, but there is such a thing as progress. So time is this measuring progress. On the earth, obviously, it's cycles, but in the higher realms, there is cycles. There is ebbs and flows of power, electricity, magnetism. They're all followed by laws. The same way we have science here. There's obviously a science there. So ebbs and flows, rhythms. You can measure those, and you can also measure progress, which is the only true time is your progress. So you can waste as much time as you want by not progressing. But in order to progress, you must learn and do and experience. And God, I don't think God is exempt from that. And it's unrealistic to believe that he is. Or she is. He or she is, It's a different take, but how else can we explain where we are and why things happen to be, Like the dinosaurs. Why did he invent the dinosaurs for? And then that was meteorite, will bring humans in, And it says creator gods who sit underneath God, who God's like, you guys have evolved to a certain level of power, now you can create, but I'll oversee your doing. And he has to let them make mistakes and learn.
But that's the thing.
That's their journey.
That's the thing, that there's some universal force that brought that meteor onto this planet and wiped out the existence of a whole population of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And to the dinosaurs looking at that in their perspective, they would have think like, oh no, our God loves us. He would never do anything to us like that.
Yeah.
But there is destruction in the universe again.
I don't think dinosaurs could think like that.
Dark forces think like that?
I don't think dinosaurs could think like that.
No,
Our
but
God doesn't love us. They're animals, bro.
Yeah, they're animals, but we don't know their level of intelligence or
it's not as much as a human.
or consciousness.
Sure. Yeah, I believe their spectrum is incomplete. They're still evolving on a very low level where they can't actually have thoughts like that. Because the body is a manifestation of the mind, so to speak. So with the cows, they can't think like a human being. They have intelligence, they can think, they still have a brain and a nervous system, but they really cannot comprehend and understand to the level a human being can. Human beings can because we are godlike. Animals are not. They belong to the earth. There is consciousness that is evolving slowly, but they're way down on the lower level. Doesn't mean we can treat them badly or poorly. They still deserve respect and decency to live beautiful lives without pain and suffering. But human beings just have a higher spectrum of mind if you're analysing it on a vibrationary level.
I don't agree with that.
You don't?
No.
You don't? Okay.
No.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't take
That's fair enough. Well, I wouldn't want to be a cow.
The reason why is because, like, look, you talk about consciousness, and it's like, look what we've done to the planet already.
Yeah.
What's
Human beings?
What's determining us that we're such high conscious beings? Like, what have we done to the planet?
We are high conscious beings, but I'm saying is we've made some horrible mistakes. And there is darkness, there is dark forces on this planet.
Where's the consciousness there,
planet.
though? You know what I mean? Like,
well, the consciousness is in the awareness of it. And there's a lot of good being done as well in the world. There's a lot of beautiful people that have come through, tried to help balance this whole madness that's been going on, and they succumb to darkness as well. But even the best of us who have walked like the saints, like David, Solomon, things like people like that, have been good and loving at least half the time, and they've made horrible mistakes.
Now, I agree that there's been some amazing and powerful beings, but when we look at animals in the sense of being lower vibrational, we look at them in the sense that we're above them.
It's not an insult.
No,
what
no.
I'm saying is just, according to their mind, they can't compete with a human being's level of consciousness.
And what's the competition?
Well, it's just a level, it's just grades, it's just like it's a higher spectrum of consciousness.
And what is a human being high level of consciousness allowed that an animal can't?
Well, to think,
Huh?
to create,
Well,
to build.
that's to limit consciousness to the mind then.
Well, it must be limited by their body in some sense. How can they learn and create? Like they can't build cities or mine or have
How are
conversation.
plants creating?
How are plants
How
creating?
have plants facilitated the creation of human beings?
It's all a beautiful ecosystem, I'd imagine.
That's what I mean.
I can't tap into the mysteries of the planet, but I do know that human beings have given way more consciousness than the plants and the animals.
But the thing is, you look at plants, right? The plants doesn't really have a brain like we do. They don't have neural structures the way that we do, right? But then again, you look at their creation, and it trumps human being creation. How? Because they facilitate the creation of water, they facilitate the creation of the environment, they facilitate the creation of other plants, herbs, spices, medicines, all the things that allow animals to exist and inevitably allow humans to exist. But where's the mind?
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think when we're looking
They're
at this,
operating at a higher level of consciousness out of this world then.
yeah, that's what I mean. Their consciousness isn't grounded or limited by their structure. Rather, it's a much more elaborate ecosystem of intelligence that is permeating through the ether, you could call it. So my question to come back
So what
to,
if nature then was God and we are just the experiments?
I think we're just creations potentially of the plants. Do you know what I mean?
Creations of the plants.
Of the plants.
Not creations of consciousness.
What do you mean?
You're saying we're creations of the plants. Well, are we creations of consciousness? Because if Source Consciousness created this whole thing for us to live in, he created the plants for a specific purpose, same with the animals and same with the human beings.
Are you asking me what I think?
I'm trying to explain, I'm trying to even out this conversation of like, how does it all work then? Because you're saying if plants created the animals and human beings, and like, who created the plants? I'll say back to Source Consciousness created this whole platform for us to live in. So the plants could be closer to God than we are, but their job is not to experience and to learn as we are, because they are just reflections of more pure God-like source, or just a simulation that's given us the right to have dominion and experience and stuff like that.
Good point. Fundamentally, I think we're experiencing a very limited band of reality, right? And that's the physical reality. And we, in some sense, have done amazing things and created amazing feats, and we've dominated in certain areas, which gives us this exaggerated confidence that I believe we are the highest on the spectrum, on the hierarchy. But realistically, when you tear all of that stuff back, everything's very, very illusory. We don't truly have power just because we have nuclear bombs. Do you know what I mean? One meteor from Mother Nature will wipe us out within a click. No meteor matches that type of power.
Same as the dinosaurs, yeah.
Same as the dinosaurs, right? So like, I think the plants fundamentally are operating in a completely different ecosphere. They're operating in a dimension of energy, and then they're also operating in a dimension of physicality, because they've learned that operating in this dimension of physicality is limited. So they've grounded their being to this one structure in which they've transcended their survival needs. So they don't need to go out to hunt for food, water, shelter. It's done, ready to go. It comes back to what you said, we're learning. In this dimension, we are learning. Like, we're learning that, okay, this is a very important aspect of our being, is survival, to understand survival.
Yeah, but the thing is, I believe we've grown past the whole survival thing. I believe this system has a life of its own in the third dimensional reality, which is taken off, and people are trying to bring us back, because if the plants, you said, have all their needs taken care of, they're beyond the need to survive, so are we, because we are nature, and we eat the plants, so one can't be without the other. This whole matrix of mind has been, I believe it's almost been like hijacked by dark forces in a way, for power and control and monetization and all that kind of stuff over one another, rather than working together. So people are coming in, like special people or star seeds or whoever else, or just people who awaken to the truth and try to fix this, but the system is it's like a tumor. It's so big, And it's just rapidly growing that we're like, holy shit, how do we slow this thing down at the end of the day? You know, that's what it feels like living on this planet is. Like the system is a cancer. We're trying to bring ourselves back to homeostasis and harmony amongst the earth so we don't have to live within these limits of scarcity, which are just all man-made concepts anyway. But it's a very deep conversation, but it's hard to conversate when we're talking about the third dimensional plane and man's consciousness within it versus the plants, because the plants could be more attuned to God than we are, but it still doesn't, they still don't have more power over us in the third dimensional plane. Well, not that power is an issue, but it's a complicated subject.
But how do you know that? How do you know the influence that they have on this reality? Because you're only seeing it as a physical thing, right? Like you see yourself as, like for example, we see ourselves that we just go get a chainsaw and cut the plants down. That's it. But as you speak that there's influence of spirits in your life and in your path and your direction. And this is a non-physical force that has the ability to physically influence you into action, into direction.
True, yes.
So if we're looking at the plants from the perspective of, oh, physically they can't come out and roll me or take my pants off or take my clothes or do this. Yeah, they can't do that because we just cut them with a chainsaw. Yeah. But what if they were operating in a realm that we're not comprehending, that's not in the physical? It's influencing us through a very, very subtle way. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's like shamanic stuff, like the plants, spirits, communication. We can talk to them. They can guide us. We can be, we can work together, in that sense. But I haven't personally worked with any plant spirits or animal spirits, for that matter. But I know people who do, such as yourself and other people who communicate with them for medicines and ayahuasca and all these amazing things that work together, and it's beautiful. But I haven't really figured that out yet, to be honest, as to the consciousness of plants, animals, humans. But from what I know is that human beings do have a higher spectrum than animals and plants in this domain. But the plants is a good one. I mean, the animals I have no idea.
Yeah.
But the plants, obviously there's a lot more to it because they're more in tune with God than possibly we are. And that force is operating right through them. I mean, but yeah, man, it's more research needs to be done on this subject.
Yeah, it just interests me, man. It interests me the fact that, like, if that's really what's going on, how do we learn from that? Like, how can we? Because I'm not selling the human species short in any way or in any regard.
I mean, we're all divine and we all should be working together. You know, like if you've got a farm, you're working with the plants and the bulls and you're doing the soil and it's all just one organism.
That'd be pretty cool.
But who determines the layout of the farm? It's the human being. And the plants will happily work with us. The animals will happily work with us. All they want is respect and gratitude in return, so we all can flourish. But it all comes down to us changing our mindset and evolving and helping this freaking tumor come back to a natural state of harmony and balance amongst everything.
I heard turmeric is good for the tumor.
There you go, man. But a meteor could sort that shit out. If human beings died, then the planet would be beautiful and healthy in a very short amount of time. Less than 1,000 years, right? All the plastic degrades. But yeah, man, it's a mess. Yeah. We need a full panel discussion on that.
We can do it now. Question 3.
What was question 2?
Huh?
What was question 2?
That was we had question 2 already.
What was it?
It was regarding Satan.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And then question 3 is, if you could clone yourself, right? Like fully clone yourself, it is you.
Yeah.
A mirror image of you.
Like my thoughts and stuff like
Everything.
that. Everything.
It is just you.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
And you were the last person on earth.
Get the fuck out of here with you gay person.
Would you have sex with him?
No.
But it's you.
No.
Why not?
What the fuck is that? I honestly don't think that I would, man. I think that we'd probably spend our time fucking talking shit, meditating, eating fruits.
But it's you.
I don't fancy sticking my dick in my own ass.
Well, isn't that like just self-pleasure though? Like you're just playing with yourself?
To be honest, man, that does nothing for me, to be honest.
What if, okay,
There are greater pleasures in life than than that.
The question is self-love, realistically. Like, can you,
Yeah.
if it was a mirror, if it was you, like,
Yeah. I think that we, as human beings, we really try to, like, we confuse love with sex. Love and sex are two different things. They're not one and the same at all. You know? So people say, oh, well, don't you love this person, or love yourself, or whatever it may be, and especially people in different relationships, and like, you're confusing love with sex. Like, love is open and everything and more freeing and liberating. It's nothing to do with penetration. You know what I mean?
So you wouldn't do it?
I don't think I would do it.
What about for $1 million?
What, right now?
Huh?
No, I wouldn't do that.
2 million.
Not any amount of money would I compromise my values.
But it's you.
I don't care.
Then what's
If the answer is no for free, then no amount of money will ever change my mind. I think I'm beyond that.
I think you thought about it for a bit.
I did think about it. He goes like, $1 million? Like, but then it's like, my values and my character are way more important than any amount of money ever. When I was very young, I used to dream and imagine, oh, what if I could just change places with someone else? I could just be P. Diddy or Justin Bieber or something like that. And I realized that's all come from self-hate.
True.
I want to have money and experiences. My life is irreplaceable to me. That's self-love. Staying true to yourself and your values and your character and not breaching them for anything or anyone. That's fucking self-love.
I think you'd take the dick.
Honestly, man.
I think you're spitting on it.
Whatever you want, bro. But it's my values, man.
Fuck your values. If you're getting banged, bro, in the bush. So you wouldn't do it?
No.
Okay, that's fair. What if it was a chick version of you?
Definitely. I like the puss, bro.
Huh?
I like the puss.
Oh man, that was very interesting.
It was, man. This is the third time we've done this show.
Third time we've done the show, and third time we got that question. It's a powerful question, though. The reason why I ask it is because fundamentally it is you.
Yeah.
Like, it's no other man.
I know what you mean, man.
Do you know?
Yeah, but if it's me, then it's like, you know, getting two batteries, putting them up the same way up. It's not going to power the circuit. You need the polarity.
What circuit?
The electrical circuit. We're electrical beings, electrical in nature. I think that it had to be the perfect opposite to me to work. To create that chemistry, to that bond, that attraction, you know?
But wouldn't you see
I'm
it?
just going through my own experiences.
No,
I have nothing else to guide me but that.
Yeah. No, wouldn't you see it as like it's not separate? It's when you combine those two batteries, it becomes one battery, a much more powerful battery. Do you know what I mean? Because what fundamentally you're doing behind the psychology behind the question is you're integrating a part of yourself that is repressed in certain desires that manifest in homosexuality.
True.
Right?
True.
There's nothing homosexual really about it.
There's nothing, yeah.
You watch porn?
Not for a very long time.
Have you ever watched porn?
Yeah.
Have you gotten off to it?
Yes, I have.
What type of porn you watch?
Well, I started off watching lesbian porn.
Yeah.
I started watching like just softcore porn. You know, something nice, you know.
Yeah.
And more elegant. That's it.
So you ever watched male-female porn?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever got off to male-female porn?
Absolutely, man.
Okay, so fundamentally you were attracted or holding yourself or getting yourself off to another man's penis that is not yours.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Normally I'd visualize myself as that guy.
No,
You know what I mean?
that thing's
me living a
bullshit.
fantasy.
That thing's bullshit.
Bro, how different is a man's penis from my penis?
It's not about that.
Visually.
It's another
It's
man.
not the same.
It's another man. If you were to remove that woman from there, do you think you would still be able to have a boner?
I don't think so.
That's the illusion. The only reason I believe that it makes it right is because there's a woman in there.
Well, it's not right or wrong. Like, I wouldn't watch a video of a guy jacking off.
But you did, technically, because
well,
it's another man's
I watched
penis.
a video of a man with a woman. To be honest, I'm not afraid of homosexuality. I've contemplated it.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't.
You know?
I'm getting you to the
I'm not being homophobic at all, but I'm saying is like, it is my focus is actually on the woman. Like, early on it was ego. I wanted to fuck to be a man, all this sort of thing.
But she's getting banged.
Stimulus. Yeah, of course, man.
by someone else's rock hard penis,
Exactly.
and
Look,
that's arousing you.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
It's the act of sex, man. It's
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
enticing, bro.
That's what I mean. As in, like, there's nothing homosexual about it. It's just okay. There's two people having sex.
Yeah.
Right. There's another man's penis there. But what I'm trying to sort of showcase is that it's not your penis. You can imagine it as much as you
It
want.
doesn't have to be, man. It's porn.
It's creating certain emotions and desires within you in that moment, right?
It's releasing a lot of neurochemicals.
That's
and
it.
testosterone.
That's really just it.
We just want that rush.
So I believe the trap of this homosexual idea is really just this. It's a chemical trap. It's an energetical trap. The second we start perceiving ourselves through certain specific energetics, and these specific energetics have certain circuitry within the body, we see it as homosexual, and that is when the man is stopped, or actually fears going into their feminine, because.
I actually do feel that fear come up. Like if I'm with if you or one of my good guy mates, I'm like, fuck, I love this person. Early on I was like, you're probably gay, or like had this fear. I'm like, no, I'm allowed to love you or my friends as deeply as I want. To hug or hold hands or like gaze into each other's eyes. I really don't have that come up anymore. Because you get rid of that, all those layers of shit that hold you back from love and intimacy and going into your feminine.
That's good.
Being in your feminine is beautiful and liberating.
You've done the work though. That's probably why. You know what I mean? Like you've been able to get out of that fear of it. My point just comes back to like really, are men really willing to reclaim certain parts of their desires? Which doesn't mean they're homosexual. If we truly believe that we are like this, one whole being, there's parts of you inside that can be aroused by looking at another man with his rock hard penis out. And people are doing it. They're getting off to porn every day.
But that's like mirror neurons too. If you see a guy with an erect dick, your brain will associate. You can't tell the difference between you, someone else's reality, or a visualization and the real experience. So it matches the experience just by witnessing it. That's
then why can't you imagine that you also have the pussy?
Imagine me have a pussy?
Yeah. Because you're mirror neuroning it, right? Like, then why can't you do the same thing with your butt?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
I've actually never tried, man.
So do you get the point?
I get the point, yeah.
Of the desires?
I get the point of the desires, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just haven't experienced those desires before, to be honest with you.
So you wouldn't sleep with yourself?
What, the female version of me?
No, just the male version of
no,
you.
I don't think I would.
It's you. Okay. Would you be able to get up to a porno with him?
What do you mean?
It's a porno.
Of me fucking me, and I'm watching that and jacking off to that.
yeah.
I don't think I could, man.
So it has to be you and another woman.
Okay, the clone of me is fucking a woman and I'm watching that. I could do that.
Okay, what about if it's the clone of you having sex with another clone of you?
That's a man.
And
both men, and I'm watching the third.
Yeah.
That's even worse than the first idea. I would never like. I don't want to see that. I don't think I want to see that, to be honest. But I'm a very strange man when it comes to my sexuality. Like,
what's strange?
I don't think it's strange. I think it's the way it's meant to be. But I form a emotional connection and a spiritual connection with the person. Like, have deep intimacy, and then sexual attraction for me starts to build. And the more that I've been in that, the more everything else becomes obsolete in my field of view. It's quite interesting. Like, I think I'm yearning for intimacy more than I am for sex. This is relatively recent in the last couple of years.
Couldn't that also just be through sex though? Like, intimacy isn't?
Intimacy.
Or you could see sex as like a part of intimacy.
It's definitely it's a big part of intimacy. But even just the intimacy itself is more important than the actual sexual act, because the sexual act is numb and meaningless, and we've all gone through those phases of, fucking things we shouldn't.
You goblin.
But honestly, bro, like, there's been times where I've slept with women and thought, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's not what I thought it would be. It wasn't. I mean, it was just like jacking off. It had no
emotion,
deep intimacy, no emotion.
Yeah.
It was just like shit.
We've all been there. We've all been to some meaningless sex.
Hey man, when you find meaningful sex, there's nothing better than that.
Oh, that's liberating. That's very liberating.
Yeah. So that's the goal for me, not me fucking another man. That's me, or me watching another man fuck myself on the screen. Like,
it's just you. It's all just fragments of you.
I know, but it's just so detached.
It's you.
The point? Bro, why are we doing this again? We
No.
just discussed about intimacy and connection.
I'm just fucking
liberating, and you're talking.
If there's anything more intimate, it's you being able to make love to yourself, because it's you. It's not like it's some other man.
Hey man, I jerk off, man.
He's got you.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, why couldn't you jerk him off?
I don't want to.
But it's you.
It's not me, bro.
It's you, bro. He's got the same genetic
clone,
code.
man.
You got the same DNA. It's you. It is you. There's
But who cloned him?
Huh?
Who cloned him?
You created it, bro. You're God. You created a machine that cloned kids.
If I was God,
not kids,
that's the
men.
last. If I was God, that's the last thing I would do is clone myself to jack him off. Like, what a waste of fucking power. You know what I mean? Like, some mad scientist like cloning myself. I want to jack him off.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's just a question.
It's a good question. But leave it out.
Interesting.
It's stimulating, man. It's stimulating, that's for sure. Is there one more question? Or
There's the last
I'm gonna
question.
wrap this up, dude. I feel like I'm on fucking in between two ferns or some shit.
Okay, last question. Why did you choose to come on this planet right now?
I don't think I really know, because I'm not in touch with my highest and greatest self to be able to communicate that exactly word for word. But you get little spoon-fed pieces here and there. But from what I would really think is that what's happening now is like the greatest shift in consciousness that's ever happened, you know? And we can see that just in how different we are from our parents, how different they are from their parents, going all the way down the line. But this last 100 years has been like an exponential growth, you know? Like the mobile phone was invented, what, in the 1990s? And look at the mobile phone now. The computer was invented, what, in the 50s, 60s? I can't remember, but less than 100 years ago. And that was the size of a fucking room, the size of this building. And now it's like this little device. Like technology has evolved so much with so much information, with so much going on. Like the unveiling of truth is huge right now. All the conspiracy theories that are coming out and people becoming spiritual. Like at what time, in what point in history of human being can they go into the city and say, I'm meditating and talking to spirits and not be burnt or killed at the stake?
True.
But be given money for it. Couldn't even do that in the 80s. Now we can. We're talking about,
Good point. Very good.
you know what I
point.
mean?
Yeah.
Like this is the liberation of the spiritual man. Like this is the evolution of our consciousness. This is the return of the Christ consciousness in a way that we all can experience and enjoy and communicate to higher beings and God ourselves and reclaim our sovereignty and spirituality. And the freedom is fucking beautiful, man. This is huge. We can pull this off, you know? We all can get to this level of high consciousness. Like this planet will change into, will begin to change into somewhat of a utopian or more well-balanced place. Whether that's a 3D to 5D shift, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. Or it could just be the return of the old times like Atlantis, where we have spiritual innovations and free energy and free education and spiritual education and mystery schools. And
that'd be dope.
we start to begin to work with spirit on a governmental level. Could you imagine how beautiful that would be?
How does that look?
I've never seen it physically, but it looks like everyone's needs are met. Not the Marxist version of, you know, but it's just, when everyone lives from a place of love and real love and genuine love, then there will be no issues of communism or capitalism or anything like that, because it would all work out so well, because we'd all be looking out for each other and caring for each other and making sure no one's without an education or without food. And there'd be enough resources for them. You know, that just seems to be what we can create on Earth.
Imagine that on a governmental level. You get like allowances to go meditate, allowances to go like actually, you know, like there's actual schools
Yeah.
that
proper
have
education.
fundamentally been funded by the government that allow you to go deeper into your consciousness, to like research into maybe psychedelics,
Anything you
plants, animals, different levels of consciousness.
We'd be a totally different world. It'd be beautiful, man. That's heaven on earth, right?
So then what's your purpose?
It's to help and aid in that shift however I can.
How are you going to do it?
Well, you can take it back to the basics. It's coming from a place of love always.
It's very vague. Like what's your goal? You know it. It's in you. Like what's
My goal?
how are you going to do it? Like what's your thing? What's your goal? Like
I think it's just, to be honest, man, like you can break it down and logically try to rationalize it and have like different tasks. Like you can start healing people or talking to people or giving them love or whatever, or start a business that promotes this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just like in every moment we have a choice whether to act out of love or fear. And that energy emanates from us and our being and affects other people. You know, the same way electricity will affect everything that it's near. Same thing with us. Me being more loving and you witnessing that will be, oh, holy shit, I can do that too. And then you feel good doing that as well, and that spreads. That's just on a physical component, on a psychological component, but on a spiritual component can be immensely greater. Like how much love and divine power can you hold from source or from the higher spiritual world that flows through us every day?
so you're here to be you
Exponential amounts.
fundamentally.
Well, we're here to be the greatest version of ourselves possible in love, in light, and in service to others.
What does that look like? What does the greatest version of Brett English look like? Like if
Well-
you could see him sitting here right now,
Look just like this.
just like this.
Just like fucking this.
Exactly.
Just like fucking this. Because looks are
Same
fucking...
clothes? No.
Looks are just a frivolous surface.
No,
you
I'm not
know?
talking about facial
How would that
looks.
person feel?
I'm
you know?
talking about like, what does he look like? And look in the sense like in your mind's eye, what does this person look like? How do you perceive him? Nothing physical. Like yeah, of course, if you want to put a suit on him and shit, some Gucci shoes.
Yeah,
go
when you
for it.
use the word look, I'm thinking visual.
Dude,
but like,
you know
how
what
does
I
this
mean, man,
person
like-
feel?
Yeah,
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but like...
I don't care what I mean. You're wearing pants that are ripped by tigers. Like,
Hey man, I like...
I'm not gonna say anything. Like, what
Yeah.
does this man look like? Like, who is he?
I would say this person would be making thoughts and decisions based of love and purity in the best interests for humanity and the greater good. If that makes sense. How he would feel would be feeling like love.
How do you treat feminists?
Sorry?
How would you treat feminists?
Feminist?
Yeah.
My mum's a feminist.
Yeah, like how would you treat them?
Textbook definition of a feminist, I'm a feminist also. Feminist wants
Okay, let me
equal rights.
be a bit more clear. People who want to, no, that was a really, really, really bad explanation.
Okay.
In my head, I was thinking of like there's certain class of feminists that want to sort of be equal to the man, but their equalness is grounded in their own inadequacy. It's not
Okay.
a real type of equality they
cool.
want. And in that endeavor, they try to steal and strip the man of all their power.
So they want to be more like the stereotypical man of like career and work and that sort of stuff. Are we talking like
Well,
that?
no, well, they just have a deficiency. They believe they got a deficiency, well, they don't actually have a deficiency, and they try to fulfill that
Oh, yeah,
deficiency
yeah,
through
yeah.
gaining power in the exterior world.
Yeah, true. That's
So
just
it's
like
a class
that's
of feminist.
Okay, we can relate it to everybody. Whoever is chasing power over someone else, in any sense, needs to be treated with love, in all forms, so they know and they can feel that there's nothing wrong with you. You are equal. You can do whatever you like.
True, good point.
I'm not going to fight you or become like you or resist what you're trying to do. You go for it. But just so you know, I have your back. I can see your value. I love you. Do whatever you want to do. I'm here to help you. You know? If they start becoming toxic towards you and you just
That's
you just
a-
need to distance yourself.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But never change your character for someone else's. Because then they win and you become like them, and what's the point of that? You know, that's vengeance, and that's the beginning of evil again. But then you want to destroy them because they want to destroy you, and now you're two destroyers.
Yeah,
And it's hard to break that neural circuit again.
pulled yourself down into that lower state.
Yeah.
Very good point, man. Very good point. You know what I think, though? I think that fundamentally, the human predicament. I don't know where I'm going, bro. I don't know where I'm going.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine, man.
There was you nailed it. Like there was no way for me to say anything after that. You know.
You can wrap it up because didn't we do an hour?
We did an hour, yeah.
You only wanted half an hour. We did an hour.
Huh?
So you can do it in 2 parts if you want.
What?
This podcast, if you want a half an hour episode, you can just do it in 2 parts.
True. Yeah. No, that's all right. I'll cut that part out, and then we'll just
That's
start
cool.
from here.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
little,
Do whatever you
me
want.
laughing. Well, I agree with you, man. That's a very wise way to see the world.
It's a very tough way to see the world. It's a test every day.
Yeah, love. Like honestly, man. Don't you feel like sometimes though, like
It's tough.
Just smacking a bitch is a bit of love.
Bro, just the other week, man, I actually wanted to fucking destroy someone. Like, kill them. Not kill them, but I wanted to cause them a lot of harm. And I wasn't even aware of that. I had so much vengeance in me that it was just boiling beneath the surface, under my inadequacies. Not feeling like I'm man enough, not feeling like I'm worthy, not feeling like I'm strong enough. And that was outplaying in my physical reality, and I was experiencing that and seeing that within myself. And then I started to receive what I felt to be dark energy around me, that someone was sort of doing a bit of a spell on me, or there was a dark entity in my midst that was from other healers who had told me that was sent from someone else. I didn't know who. It was sent away once, sent away twice, nicely, came back a 3rd time, and I was fucking raging. That whoever sent that to me, I wanted to fucking destroy them. And I really felt that deep within my soul of like, I'm going to crush you because this is my home turf. You want to try and beat me up in the physical world? Fair enough. But you want to try and attack me on the spiritual planes? You didn't know who the fuck I am, man. Like,
Yeah.
I will summon a demon to your back door, but you know what I mean? I'm like, that's not me though. But that was that
That
feeling,
is you, though.
That feeling
It's
was
part
in
of
me,
you.
right? And when I became aware of that, I actually felt it leave.
You felt it leave.
I felt the energy leave. Like it just flew out of my solar plexus and it through the fucking roof. And I felt cold and wet, and I felt like I was dizzy. Like it was like, whoa. Even the person that was with me, this girl who's a healer, she actually laid on the floor. She couldn't stand up. The release was that big that it was just like an explosion. And ever since then, I realized, wow, my capacity for evil is great. Been with me my whole life. And that's just one layer that's been removed now, to act out of love no matter what they're doing to me.
That's
intense.
intense.
And that's recent.
Yeah, that's right.
That's recent. And I want to own that part of myself, because you know what? I did feel like I wasn't man enough, and I did want to access more power, and I did felt hurt and vulnerable and in love and all these different things. That when I'm attacked in that state, it just brought up so much trauma in me. It's just like, now someone has to die. You know, it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm glad that I got to see that part of myself and love that and let it go.
It does honestly create a more whole version of you when you're able to experience that you have the capacity to wreak havoc and hell onto other people or other things or existence in life itself. And when you realize it, you're like, whoa, I'm capable of that. You become aware and you're able to pull back and control your... It's like having a bunch of loose dogs just running around, right? And all you got to... Life's kind of like, you got to grab these loose dogs, grab the Rottweiler with the chain, hold him, grab the other one, grab the other one. And eventually you're the gatekeeper of these guys.
But the problem is, when you're harboring that kind of energy within your being, it's destructive on you and them. On both of you.
Huh?
It's destructive on both of you.
But you got it under control.
Well,
You've got the dogs under control.
We always believe we do, but like attracts like.
Now, I know what you...
So you're bringing experiences into your field, and everything's cyclical. It comes back to you. So if I send him ill intent, it's going to come right back at me. And then where there's two dogs fighting.
Now, I know what you mean. Sometimes, especially when working with the dark forces or dark energies or more lower vibratory fields, you got to be able to creep into it and understand it. Because if you go right into the deep end, you will get eaten. You won't most likely come out.
Yeah.
My tip would be, the best way is tip your toes in, understand what it is, understand how to move it, how to direct it, how to shift it, and then when you're able to better understand that territory, then move deeper and deeper, slowly. Eventually you get to the deep end and realize, holy shit, this is not even as evil and scary as I thought. It's just energy. It's just energy that I can direct and move with my will, and actually has powers to it and benefits to it.
I don't think anyone's been in the deep end and gotten out.
You don't think so?
The real deep end.
Well, God has.
Well, God is above it all. You know what I mean? But like that true deep end, I think that you couldn't venture in that place alone. Because that's like, you know, that's, yeah. I'm yet to meet someone who's actually been to that deep end.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go in the deep end, but if you do go, tread carefully.
Go with Ham.
Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for this podcast. And if you guys have any recommendations or insights of your experiences, drop them down.